Oh.
I'm here in San Diego in front of the former Jehovah's Witnesses house, Beth Sarim, which means in Hebrew, House of the Princes. Joseph Franklin Rutherford, the second president of the Watchtower Society, built this house in expectations that Moses, Elijah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, and other people from the Old Testament were going to be resurrected and they were going to live here. In the 1993 book, Proclaimers of God's Kingdom, Jehovah's Witness book, on page 76 is actually photos of this house, and they give the reason why Joseph Franklin Rutherford lived here was because he had a bad lung, and therefore his doctor told him to live in a warm San Diego environment instead of the Brooklyn headquarters in New York. Also in the 1975 Jehovah's Witness annual yearbook, it says the same thing. Now, the point of me being here is I'm going to determine whether this was the real reason why this house was built, or whether the Jehovah's Witness truly believed that the princes were going to be resurrected, and then that they covered it up with a failed prediction. Okay, in 1924, the book The Way of Paradise, the Jehovah's Witness publication, on page 224, it reads, "We should therefore expect shortly after 1925 to see the awakening of Abel, Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Isaiah, Jacob, Melchizedek," and the list goes on, as mentioned in the 11th chapter of Hebrews. So they really taught that the prophets are going to be resurrected. In the book, Millions Now Living Will Never Die, which was written in 1920, on page 89 to 90, it basically says the same thing as what I just read. In the 1942 publication, The New World, Therefore faithful men of old may be expected back from the dead any time now. In the expectation, the house in San Diego, California was built in 1930 and named Beth Sarim, meaning House of the Princes. So this is directly out of Jehovah's Witness literature. And why would it be called Beth Sarim or House of the Princes if it was just meant for Joseph Franklin Rutherford to stay here for a bad lung? It was meant for the princes to be resurrected. They actually planted fig trees and olive trees to make the princes feel more at home in like a Mediterranean climate. Now, one last thing I'm going to talk about is the deed. I actually got a copy of the deed from the house, and it was sold from Robert J. Martin of Brooklyn to Joseph Franklin Rutherford for $10, this house, and it was sold on Christmas Eve. That's kind of strange with the Jehovah's Witness hatred of Christmas. They didn't always hate Christmas. Okay, so this is from the first, I'm going to read excerpts from it, this is too long, but this is from the first page. The grantor, at the request of the said Joseph F. Rutherford, who is president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society and general manager, therefore makes this and condition as set forth in the deed provision. So you can see from the beginning it's a deed to Joseph Franklin Rutherford. Page 2. This is a little bit long, so I'm going to try to rush through this. That among those who will thus be the faithful representatives and visible governors of the world will be David, who was once the king of Israel, and Gideon, and Barak, and Samson, and Jopheth, and Joseph, formerly the ruler of Egypt, and Samuel the prophet, and other men who were named with approval in the Bible at Hebrews the 11th chapter. The condition herein is that the said Watchtower Bible and Tract Society shall hold said title perpetually in trust for the use of any or all of the men above, named as representatives of God's kingdom on earth, and that such men shall have possession and use of said property herein above described as they may deem for the best interest in the work in which they are engaged. So basically in the deed, it named these prophets that they're going to live here and be residents of this house. And you can get this information at www.a2z.org/wtrchive/docs/1930_Beth_Sarim_deed.pdf. Or if you go to any Beth Sarim deed, you'll probably find the deed online. The whole reason that, one more thing, the witnesses who saw the deed being signed over to Joseph Franklin Rutherford was David Haslett, Bonnie Boyd, Robert J. Martin, who sold him the property, and Joseph Franklin Rutherford. And the reason why I made this documentary is to show that the Jehovah's Witness organization is not the mouthpiece of God. It is not God's sole organization on the earth. This is another failed prediction of the Jehovah's Witness. This never happened. The princes never rose from the dead, which Joseph Franklin Rutherford and the Watchtower Society predicted. So this is a failed prediction, and Deuteronomy says that you know false prophets by their false predictions. And also, not only did the Jehovah's Witnesses cover this up, but they lied to their people in their own publications. Publications that first said that these princes were going to come back. When it didn't happen, they just lied to them and said it was because of his ill health, which is a complete lie. So they lied to themselves and they lied to the public. Is this an organization that would be God's organization? Doesn't sound like that. Okay, thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.